Hey, we're starting to record now. Me and Miriam have had a right old palaver getting on the new Google Talk thing. So basically, we're on it, but we can't talk to each other. So we're having to do it through Facebook anyway. But we've got the screen going. So Miriam obviously has done a presentation for us. And your Star Connection, and you're on there 3 times.
Thanks. Hello, Karen. Very
Hello,
good
my
to be
lovely
connected
friend.
again.
Hello to you. Been ages.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been too long again.
I love your astrology.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to start with a little bit of astrology. Let me put this one up. No, not this one. We go here. This, can you see the, okay, this is the partial solar eclipse we're going to get at the end of this month. And I really, really like this one because we have, yeah, we are getting a little bit out of that heaviness, that doom and gloom that we have been for the last years, not just the last 2 years, but also longer, that heavy Saturnian ruled feel, that you don't really feel where is the end point. So now what is happening? I don't know if you remember the eclipse I did in December 2019,
Right.
when Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct 0 Capricorn. And that was also with an eclipse. And I said the whole system is gonna fall apart. And that's actually basically what happened. So now on this eclipse, Saturn is still in its own rulership in Aquarius, which is a different field than in Capricorn. In Saturn is an air sign. A lot of people think still that Aquarius is a water sign. No, it's an air sign. It's very intellectual. Yeah,
It's all right. You've used that word. That's perfect. It's an intellectual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets you thinking.
So,
Gets you thinking.
yes, exactly. And it also restricts what we have at the moment. Let me just minimize this one and I'll get to this one. Let me get the, here. At this moment, Saturn and Mars are conjunct. So Mars wants to drive. Mars is the action, and Saturn is holding the brakes. It's like, oh, hang on, don't go too fast. But we all want to move, you know. It's like also the mental capacity. It's like. Also, we have at the moment Mercury in Aries, so the thoughts are going really fast, information coming out. Everybody wants to talk, wants to get stuff out, speaking. So when we go back here, I can just move this one a little bit to go on, say, days. Venus has just moved, this is beautiful, Venus has just moved into Pisces, where she is exalted. She's very expressive, creative, artistic, not just beautifying, but expressing through the arts. That's the Pisces.
Right.
And Jupiter, sorry?
I just said right.
Yeah, and Jupiter is in its own sign. It's in its own rulership, Pisces. Jupiter rules and Sagittarius and Pisces. In Pisces, it's more the spiritual aspect of the philosopher, the religious, spiritual aspects. So there were 3 things that came up to me with this eclipse. If we take back the eclipse, I'll just enlarge it. When I saw this, I have the intuition. Be clear with your intentions, and with wisdom and willpower, we are able to manifest. And I think this is very important because we are now in a phase that, and I'm not the only one. I hear that a lot of people around me, you know, like if I speak for myself, I'm done with all the negative stuff around me. I'm not part anymore.
Yeah,
of
I
this.
feel like that too.
Yeah, you know, like I only plugged the television in 2 years ago just to check, but I nearly wanted to throw the thing out of the window. You know, I'm already for decades not watching television. I know the bullshit they're presenting, but like movies, I'm done with all the negative stuff because, you know, we are magical electrical beings, and when you get bombarded with all this aggression, whether it is a sin, it stays in your subconscious, and when you sleep, it stays there. You dream it, and I'm thinking, what are we creating when we are sleeping?
Oh.
So yeah, you know, we are creating the world we are in. So that's why trust your intuition, trust your instinct. It's there.
Mine is chuck them off a cliff.
Yeah.
Come on,
Well,
Dream. Come on, Dream. We need to see them marching to the cliff.
Yeah, it's also like we have done our best with trying to wake up people for the last 2 years, definitely intensively, but also beforehand. You know, like we always search and we want to share it with people, but I'm shocked by how many people are in this deep trance, hypnotic state.
They seem to have forgotten what's happened before, like that never happened at all, and we've started all over again. Because all they're doing is regurgitating the past all over again and again and again. They keep, every so many months, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And these people are buying it, including my children.
Oh,
my parents.
So sorry to hear that. Yeah. It's, you know, if it's not this, then you know, it was like almost the grip of narrative that we have had to be dealing with the last 2 years. People started to wake up because it didn't make any sense, and now they're throwing in a war. It's like, you know, come on, you know, it's all tracking. It's and everything points.
I said what that was about, though, didn't I? I just think that is it's to make it look like they're trying to get rid of Putin.
As well, but I think he's also part of the whole club. I sent you a link on this very interesting documentary. Watch that, and but in the group.
But I did ask you before we went on, because it's annoyed me lately, because I never really looked that much up about Putin. Last week I have, but if you asked me who I wanted to listen to, it'd be him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he makes sense. But yeah, he's clever. But at all points, it all directs back to Switzerland. That's where the whole say the central point is of the whole clique. They're all related. Putin as well. All of them. So,
someone told me the other day, Miriam, that basically he's in the Royal Queen and he's had his orders.
Yeah.
Right.
All of them. They're all puppets. Everybody that is in the picture are the puppets of something that is hidden, and the headquarters sits in Swiss. And they say Swiss is neutral. Well, not at all. That's where the headquarters is. So, you know, I'm not going to give them any focus anymore, because when we focus, when we put our intention, our attention onto something, we are creating it. So if we still keep on feeding that. So it's, I'm completely off with that. I'm done with it. I'm focusing on whole different things. People that aren't awake by now. Sorry, I'm not bothered anymore with it. I will be friend loving. But,
You're not the only one that says that, though, Miriam. There's a few other people that are saying the same thing, because there's been so much information to wake people up, and those that agree with it want what we've got, the Holy Roman Empire, or whatever it is with the phoenixes, you know. They want this. I don't.
Yeah, if people don't get it, then okay, I'm done. I've done my part. It's not really on the internet, but very much in my surrounding. Around here, I've spoken with so many people. I've warned so many people, and there's a large group of people that.
Can I say one thing, Miriam? I love you, Miriam.
Oh, thank you.
You're quite an upfront person. You don't mix your words. You say it how it is. You're a beautiful woman, and I love being your friend.
Oh, thank you. So cool. Yeah, we have such good family. Say on the internet, you know, it's a handful of people, and you can see we always stick to the same people. You know, it's like.
Yeah, but you're an empath as well, aren't you, Miriam? You're an empath as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
So you know, I've said to Mickey, I want a piece of land, and so far it's only. I don't mean it to be rude, but it's the empaths that can come and live there.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, Miriam.
Please, yes. Okay, let me just quickly finish this off because I have a really lovely other presentation. So now what we have with the eclipse, and that is the 30th of April. So this is really exciting to look forward to.
Very bad corners.
Yeah, well, don't look at the ascendant. The ascendant, that is determined by the place. That is Amsterdam. So, you know, it's just where the planets are. So Amsterdam is the ascendant is 28 degrees Scorpio at that time, but any place anywhere else has a complete different ascendant. Right. That's the clock and the place. So just look at the planets, what are there.
Okay, so what you're saying is that this reading here is from Amsterdam, so that's where you have to clock it from, Amsterdam, for that reading.
Well, the position,
yeah,
because that could be somewhere here as well. You know, like let me see if I put this on. Yeah, that's difficult because it is the eclipse. I could do that. Let me just see. That is 30th of April. I could try and do that here. Let me just put it like this. Make a new one. Okay, we go here to 30 April. And then we put, say, New York, just as an idea. Okay, then you see,
right.
It's not really the time of the eclipse yet because there is still a few seconds of the degrees applying, but you see it's at a different place here than the eclipse is in the let me see if we have to rectify it. We can do that here. 2 hours. It also goes a little bit like that, a little bit further down.
Right.
But then you see the ascendant is more here at Libra. Am I here in New York? Yes, I'm here in New York. Yeah, you see, because it is plus 4 hours from.
Yeah, it's quite different to yours, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by the clock. Okay, so wait, this is still a bit further. Yeah. Oh no, here we are a bit further. Okay, then we go into minutes. Wait, I need to take an hour, sorry. Another hour, yep. And then we take minutes.
Well, thanks for doing that, Miriam.
We have after minutes. Okay, here we have the eclipse. You can see that Venus and Jupiter are 27 degrees, the same as in Holland. Anyway, moment of the eclipse, Venus and Jupiter are both conjunct 27 degrees in Pisces. So that is really nice. They're the benefics. Jupiter is the greater benefic and Venus is the less benefic. And Venus is exalted in ruler in Pisces. So they're really having a strong position in there. And it's like the intent, the meditations, the focus, the spirituality.
Does that mean one big push and we'll get them out? A very connected, spiritual, like, they're out, they've gone. Would that work?
That could be, but it's just more on a mundane level. Also, we all will feel this really strong. Something new will happen. Awareness of our world. Jupiter has just moved as well. Mercury has also just moved in its own rulership in Gemini. So also the clarity of communication will be emphasized. Before that, towards the eclipse, Mercury was in. Let me see where it is now. In Aries. So if you go here and go in days. So yeah. By the 11th of next week, in a few days, Mercury moves into Taurus, and then the mental activities will slow down for that period. Now the mental activities.
Is that why they picked it? We've got Easter this weekend.
Is that on that? Yeah, on the 11th in Taurus, which will be an emphasis on traditional values, traditional thoughts, traditional communication, more checking what's, we don't need to renew everything and everything needs to be changed. Like what they're wanting to do with, we all need to be connected with our physical body on the internet or on the computer. No, not at all. I think, people start seeing that this is complete unnatural way, and of course people that are so deeply entranced, hypnotized, they won't get it at all. But that's what I think. That's what I see here. I want to go back to the eclipse. So the moon is in Taurus, exalted in Taurus, so it feels good. It's a lovely. It's ruled by Venus. Venus is very strong in this chart. The eclipse is ruled by her. So the emphasis on beauty, expressing. That's why I wanted to talk about this. And I think I'm going to leave it with this.
You don't think this is a wake up then for everybody?
Could be. I can't say.
Why is there going to be a big mistake that happens and we're going to see it and everybody can wake up then?
Yeah, but I think also by just acting by example, just being, accepting that maybe some people aren't waking up at all, but by just living your own life, be happy, expressing yourself in a loving way, that might suddenly wake up people as well. By, hey, maybe it's not all that. We have a word here in Holland. It's a horrible word. They put that onto people that have a different opinion, that think differently, that question the state, question the narrative. They are being called wappies. Oh. So, yeah, it's like, like a wimpy, or wimp or something, we're wappies. A whole new kind of political correct kind of word. It's like disgusting.
We're the ones that are standing firm and are not changing our minds every 5 minutes between masks and wars.
Yeah, no, exactly. But, they try to really discard us with some stupid words, and it's just disgusting. But anyway, what the people that do wake up then think, oh, maybe those wappies were right after all. So that's a big possibility. Yes.
Maybe wappies is the new way to go. Wappies.
So I'm going to switch this one off, and I'm going to. This is something that I've been doing for the children. I made children's stories. Let me see, full screen. This is a traditional story, and I'm telling the story. It's for the really little ones. I've got it in English and Dutch, so that's my new YouTube channel. So if you have little grandchildren, or you have little children, and you don't want them to fleshy kind of these stupid things that they have on the television or wherever. So
what you mean? We need to send our children to this channel?
Yeah, stories for little children. The story of the root children in English is, I speak a little bit too quick, so I have to redo it again, and more stories will come. I've collected a lot of children books, and yeah, that's just, I love doing it. I get another grandchild, so I'm just doing this for all the little. I think that's so good.
I'll have to sub to that. I'll write down your channel, so I'll sub to it.
It's really, the story of the root children is about the little root children. They sleep the whole winter deep under the ground, and then Mother Earth comes with a little light to wake them up, and then they have to make the new dresses, and then the beetles and bees and bumblebees, they wake up. They need to be washed, they need to be painted, and then they go in spring all out into the fields, and then it's really, really sweet. It's a classic story, and yeah, I think that's.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Miriam.
With nice, gentle, soft music, and it's really nice to make them. So I will make more of them. All right, so I'll put that also out of the way, and then we go to this one. The presentation, Old Amsterdam. I had really fun doing this. Let me see, how do we do this again? Oh yeah. Okay, I'm going to start. Old Amsterdam, West Friesland. Okay, I have to do this manually. Now, I had to start somewhere. This is a book cover, 19th century. I thought it was quite interesting. The title of the book is Int of Natural Things. Well, that's a Google translation, In that time, investigation because of the end cause of natural things. So that's something happened at that time. That's quite clear. It's at Amsterdam. It was a publishing house, and the widow Steven Swartz, she got a huge fine for publishing state affairs. So nothing new under the sun, is it? This is the illustrator of the page. That is Jan Luiken. If you Google this guy, you will find the most amazing pictures of a world, mostly biblical stories, but it's like I heard Martin Liedtke speaking about are these question. I'm so often with him on synchronized on thoughts, and I'm sure many people are. is it from the recent past, all these stories, and they put it all into a book as being something from a far distant past and call it the Bible? So that's a question. Now, here, I couldn't work out, this is the bottom of that page, I couldn't work out if it's an I, 712 or 1712. And I think I need to get into the archives, the physical archives of Amsterdam, and go do some research there. And I hope, because so much has been rewritten, like this is also one of his works. It's also at Amsterdam, and then we get by.
It's almost like it's antiquitech, isn't it?
Exactly. It's not that this is Amsterdam. This is like more Troy, I would think. And then this was written by.
Oh, he's a giant, isn't he? The person on the right's a giant.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, the one sitting there, the one sitting on. It's got.
Oh, that's a woman. She's handcuffed. She's in.
She looks a bit bigger than the soldier.
Yeah, she's the front. That's possible. I don't know, but you will find from this Jan Luiken a lot of these images. And this was written by Peter Mortier. Now we get to Peter Mortier. That's this guy. He's a publisher and a cartographer. As many people were cartographers of that time. Introduction of the Neptune Princess, which I had not heard of. Now, is the same as Poseidon, the god of the seas. But Neptune itself was discovered much later. And it's also the planet of illusion, and I wonder if Neptune actually really exists, but that's for another presentations. But I thought image, like almost a flat Earth kind of thing.
Yeah, they've got wind.
Of the winds,
they're blowing wind, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite intriguing. So I thought I'd put this in, and then. You can see he is definitely the French connection. He is French. He had a massive amount of French collection that's been translated. This is an atlas, and then there's Bibles, and of course he is part of the club. And I'm sure he was connected to the French Academy of Science, which is now that was the palace of this French Louis that was Le Roi de Soleil or something, you know, the king of the sun king. But you can see in here the French Academy. I think this is a key place where a lot of influences came out that went to England and to Holland and all the rest of Europe. And where they just rewrote everything, created everything. You can see the globe propaganda was already in full swing at the time as well. So it's and this Peter, what was his name again? The French connection. The Peter Mortier, he's definitely part of that club because he translated a lot of the French books. So he was definitely with that club in cahoots. Okay. Also, one of the books that was published in his house was, I thought this was also quite interesting. It's Lucien of Samosata. I don't know if I pronounce it right, but he presents true stories as a satire of historians who present impossible and untruthful accounts as true. So again, nothing new under the sun. And this was from for the first works from, he lived from the years about 120 to 180.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's already like, yeah, it exists already for a long time, that we do know that historians and actually also scientists are bullshitting everything. Not to say that a lot of people, they really believe that what they have learned is true, you know, and that's the hard thing with scholars, that so much effort in learning all these books, but this has been a time, the 17th century time, that all these books have been read.
Wow, back then.
Yeah. And this here,
What,
this,
the late
Pierre
1700s,
Mortier-
1800s?
No, that's before the 17th
Right.
century, 1600 something. That's why the French Academy of Sciences is a big part in it. Yeah.
Right, thank you for that.
So all these publishing houses were close to the old stock exchange building, or the stock market, whatever you call it. Now this was, the timings, the dates, that is the official given dates. So I put them there because you will see in with certain cases it's just like, it's not possible, you know. Okay, they say, and from this building we only have drawings. We don't know, it's drawings. Now then, you know, who is to say that all these drawings are authentic, giving a picture of how it was? We have no idea. There are no photos of it, not from that time. So it got demolished in between 1836 and 1837. So this must have been inside. I thought this was quite interesting. They also had already posters stuck to the walls at the time. So I think it's not to say that this is the same building. They say it's the same building, but we don't know how the outside looks. I have no idea, because we have no photos of it. And then this, they say, came in its place. The old Temple of Mercury, or the old trade fair. It's the Temple of Mercury. Now the date that is on there.
What does it mean? What does it mean? The old trade fair? Just asking.
Stock market.
Right. Okay.
They called it different, so I tried to find a translation, and that's what it was. But it's also where now the stock markets are. So this was started building in 1841 and finished in 1845. Impressive kind of short time. And those letters, they look like they've been stuck on it later. And here you see also clear floodings, houses that have been under floodings here.
Right.
As for tiny people, it's mental. So then they broke it down in
Again?
1912. So it stood only for 67 years.
Wow.
And
They love spending money, don't they, this lot?
They must have had, I don't know, money to build all these massive buildings and break them down before they're 100 years old even. You know, it's like, what are they doing? And it's the old Temple of Mercury, which I thought was quite interesting. Yeah, so yeah. And Mercury is also like the god of the thieves and the deceivers. So he's a trickster. Very interesting. And here it looks like it's out of place, as if it is much older than all the other buildings. They built in 18 something, but this is a photograph. And from the
There's lots of pillars in there. Lots of pillars in there.
Yeah, yeah. And from the old stock market, we only have drawings. It doesn't say if that is true or not. We don't know. You know, they can all have an how you say, an opdracht, they say, oh, you must draw this or that. So many people could do. We don't know. But it's it's quite impressive. So this is a drawing, but you can see that the dam square. This is like a view from the palace on the dam. This building is not there anymore, and I think it was actually more on this place. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a drawing, so it could have been a fantasy as well. Other things could have been there in place.
That building looks like it's on its own now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. This is a photograph of the same area.
Right.
And then you can see again here, like, floodings of these houses. They have been, the floor has been raised somehow.
Yeah, so they're mud flooders.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I've got a few more of them. I thought I couldn't choose which one, you know.
It looks so out of place, that building, doesn't it? But that's the Holy Roman Empire, isn't it? Exactly.
And I'm calling it as well the Temple of Mercury. It's definitely from a different. To me, it looks like it's from a different area. So then we have the aerials as well on top. You've seen. Well, then they started to breaking it down. I'll go a little bit further, and this is the new stock market, which looks a lot of drawings as well, like this one, that we have only the drawings from. Looks like it. It's quite a beautiful building on the inside, and Mercury is still a statue in it. And now the stock market has moved further. It's now somewhere else. It's now used for something different. I'm not sure if this is actually the same. No, this is a different. This is the new stock market. This is not the inside of the other one. Now this is the new building that is there now. That is the Bijenkorf, which is called the Beehive. And as an empath, when you go in there, you feel you get attacked by entities. It's like your energy gets drained. It's a big warehouse.
Why would you knock that great big building down to put that in its place?
Yeah, this is now the Bijenkorf. This is and this is the freedom's pillar. Yeah, as if we are free. They always do this. Their rituals on here. This is the Bijenkorf, the Beehive. It's called big warehouse. So it's busy bees, big energy collector. That's what I think. So this is the backside. This was the old Fisher's Mark. This is the backside of the Temple of Mercury. It looks like. So I think it was actually bigger than you would think, because it is. Yeah, it's quite big, and this is what it looks like now. This is the backside of the other trade market center, and here you can see. You know, I've always wondered, how did they build these houses on? And this is how it is now. This is where they moved the Vissers Market. That is by the new market. You can see here. That is it's called the Waag. Where quite interesting history. We'll get to that now. I'll go a little bit quicker. This is broken down. Quite interesting. Here's still from the other direction. Now this the Waag is center point. They say it was built in, let me see, 15. It was built earlier, but it is the center point of the city wall. When you get the city wall here, this is the Waag, right in the middle. So how did they know how to put this here when this is all like sand and whatever? You know, that's not solid ground, but they were able to put all this in place, they say later on.
Wow.
So yeah, and this is the old church. We'll get to that just now. The old church, oh yeah, that's in 1544. I don't think it was built then. But yeah, these are, the drawings don't say much. Also these maps, because they can all be made in a later state. They can just say, yeah, this was the town planning. You can see here is the Waag. This is the old church. They say this is the oldest building of Amsterdam. But yeah, I just have questions. Yeah, that's the board. And then the same, like tiles. Those really.
Thank you so much for doing this research, Miriam.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's a star fort.
Yeah. Amsterdam is a star fort. If you actually break down the word Amstar, then Amstar, this from the Amstel, or Amstar, star, the word star is inside it. Amsterdam, ster is a star. So they say this was all town planning, but I think there have been floodings. There have been a lot of floodings, and they have just been taking this away. We'll get to some other things. This is an old drawing, later 19th century. Now, this is headquarters also of, or not headquarters, but it's from the Freemasons. They're in there. You can see the by the port here. They're not shy about putting it up there, right clear. And I've never been in there. I always got very creepy feeling when I got close to it. I was born close by, but it has a kind of darkish kind of energy. And yeah, you wonder what they've been doing in there, you know. It's in the red area. So yeah, lots of things, dark things happening. And you can see it's been much taller before. It's now like, okay, they say dated from the 15th century, and it looks very similar to this castle. It's not far away from Amsterdam. You can even go to visit, and that is from the 13th century. And which is close by, it's beautiful. I love this garden as well. They have really nice herbs.
Yeah, a lot of these places had really nice gardens, didn't they?
Yeah, well, and it still has. It still has. You know,
oh, it's got a star fort bit on it.
Yeah, it's close to this star fort. It's very close to this one.
Oh wow! Very
this
nice.
Is yeah, they say this is for military. Well, I don't think so. That's what they all say for all these star forts, that it is made for defending the enemy, but it's not. It's
something else. Yeah, something else.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. So here you can see Holland underwater, and it's part of Germany. And there were a lot of these star forts. I think I showed this one in the other presentation as well, with the roads going into the sea.
Yes, you do. We have not forgotten that one.
Yeah, and then here you can see Dokkum is I think Dokkum is actually the original place from Asterix and Obelix, because this is where they killed the Bishop Bonifacius, and they were really fighting. So I think that is the story of Asterix and Obelix is true, but the place is somewhere else. Not in France, but here. That's what I think. And this was Friesland, West Friesland, part of West Friesland. Amsterdam is also part of West Friesland. So here you can see, this is Amsterdam, the Star Fort Amsterdam. This is Muiden, that is where the other castle is. And this is Naarden, where that other clear Star Fort is. So it's all quite close by each other. So we go here. So this is the old church. This is the Dam Square, I guess. No, it's a different one. This is the Dam. Yeah, must be the Dam Square somewhere. But yeah, I don't know what dates. It's the date 1544, but it's not said that this picture was made at that time. That's, that they've been doing so that because they have been really, really busy changing everything, every little piece of history. So the old church, that is, here you see the Waag.
This is just after the War of the Roses, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that and through France as well. So this is the old.
Wow, what a beautiful place for 1306.
Exactly. How is that possible? For that time.
Well, I've learned something new, Miriam. You know when they say Notre Dame, they say Normandy. That was the first. They were the Roman. They must have been Romans. Although it's French, it's still. They have the crisscross ceilings, like you were showing earlier on. You know where the crosses come down into what do you call them? Into oh my God, what do you call them? Columns. But they twist over. And all that, right? It's in Donington Castle up the road from me. That is Normandy. That's about the 10th century that they could build all this amazing stuff.
Exactly. How?
Yeah. How?
It's more questions.
I mean, that's Antiquitech, isn't it? The top of that tower. Like that's what I'd.
Yeah, that's why that whole city wall is built much later. I mean, it was built already much earlier. They have just, how do you say it, cleaned it up after floods.
And it might not have been built as a church to start with. It's been turned into one.
Yes. Yeah, it had a whole different
meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see where we go now. Okay, yeah, these are a lot of star forts in Holland.
Wow.
Yeah, this is Holland laying on its side. But yeah, you can see there all these little red dots. So this was already after floodings. So I don't know if these star forts must have been much older because the precision by the way they have been.
Well, do you know what I was wondering? You know, in the War of the Roses, you've got roses that are used, and when you look at the shape of the roses, they look like the stars. That's Henry VIII.
Yeah.
And it happened, and then what it was is the Lancasters and the Yorks were the I forgot what family they were now. Whatever it is, the P ones, and then they amalgamated it together. So you think Henry VIII, new king, he's called Henry VIII, not Jupiter the First, and he's using an amalgamated family rose now, and it becomes the Tudor rose, and it looks a bit like a star fort in the middle bit.
They're actually like pirates, like parasites. They have just taken with their power these old places and started ruling from there. That's what I think.
Do you think from the 1700s or before that?
This one is from before. It was built in the 12th century.
Right.
There are many different paintings of this one. This painting is dating 1608. And this is actually on the coast, where these roads go into the water. It's quite interesting. These are ruins. Now, Jacob van Ruisdael, he is a very famous painter from the same time, I think 17th century.
Ruins.
He painted a lot of ruins around Holland, mostly at the border of Germany, but this is the ruins of Castle of Egmont. So you can see there are also hills, and that is at the seaside where these roads go into the sea. So there were massive castles at the time.
Wow. By the sea.
Yeah. This is the Jacob van Ruisdael, very interesting painter, very famous. Check his work. You will find beautiful paintings with ruins and like landscapes at that time. Like, wow, what have we lost? It's like, you know, what world are we living in now? It's really some quite sad, actually. This is the ruins of Kostverloren, which is quite Amsterdam. This is the Amstel. This was, he painted this also from Ruisdael. He painted this short before it was broken down. And you can see people swimming naked, even in the Amstel. Quite interesting. So, what civilization did we had?
It sounds to me like we were, well, I can't even think of the word right now, but we were civilized.
Yeah.
But I did learn that Amsterdam, I think that's where it started, to be honest. When I looked up, I found this bit and it said how rich the people in Holland were and the industry, and I think it was Holland where a lot of it started, and that's probably why you were flattened.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. I'll show you my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sharing the same thought with you, what you brought up as well.
Especially with merchant, you know, like boats and things. They were Dutch, were the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the original pirates, royal pirates. So, we're getting very personal. This is my dad. That's me. My dad, he made a.
Look how beautiful! Look how beautiful you were when you were younger.
He passed away, but he did his last work. He wrote 2 books. Was quite interesting because he was quite a famous person. He's a pantomime artist, but and he wrote a novel on an historical figure, another pantomime player from I think also the 17th century, and from that he dived into the archives of Amsterdam, and interesting stuff that he started. Making his second book, and that is this one, the Ommuur de Stad, the city walls of Amsterdam.
Wow! Look at those! Look at that windmill.
Yeah. That's what the strongholds were. Points had a windmill, and
wow.
He got it together that on every point where one of those windmills.
Because I think this happened in Brighton, because I found a book with all the windmills in, and like say there was 300 windmills, there was about 100 of them all around Brighton.
Right, as well. Wow.
Yeah, but the truth, because when you now go in and look, well, when I looked up history, it said that in the 1800s we had tsunamis, earthquakes, flood things. So yeah. So it's not surprising maybe Brighton flooded.
Yeah, probably as well, yeah. But you know that from the sea, the floodings, they were from the rivers.
Right. Well, where did all that come from then?
Sorry?
Where did all the extra water come from then? Hey, Miriam, I've got something to say to you. How do you think this works then? Just when you're talking about rivers and how water gets to the top of mountains.
That's a whole different thing, eh? I don't know.
Paul Cook, have you heard of Paul Cook?
Yeah. And then I immediately start thinking about all these old children's fairy tales with these people that have a zombie law and pumping the water up. I don't know. I mean,
Have you ever heard of Paul Cook? Have you heard of Paul Cook?
No.
He's a young English guy. He does a lot, but how does the water get to the top? He said, as far as he was concerned, nothing is natural. It's all man-made.
Okay.
I don't know, but it is strange, isn't it, how water can get to the top of a mountain? So it's obviously got a pressure system in there. It's just when you mentioned rivers there, but so I'm wondering whether something happened. Like anyway, carry on.
Yeah. Let's carry on because I have to round this off quite quickly. Actually, I think we're halfway somehow. But, so each of those points, there's one of those stones laying, and there's also like you can make the whole walk, and then there's an app you can listen to.
Wow.
The whole history of that. So it's quite interesting, really nice. Then, and at the same time they did, this is the port of Utrecht, also in Amsterdam. So you can see all these points, they had windmills.
Yeah, big windmills.
Yeah. Because Amsterdam, the water of Amsterdam had a different level as well. Just in
case anybody doesn't know, Miriam knows, but, we've been taught that windmills were made to crush, corn, wheat. The corn, it was for milling. And it's not, they're for water extraction. Carry on, Miriam.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there could be dual handy for two things like water and grinding. Yeah. So this is they started digging, and they found quite old ruins down. So this is a sea storage from 1694. So I mean, the drawing is from 1694.
Look at the size of the building.
Yeah, exactly. Massive. And then we have the flood in 1788, but that century there were massive amounts of floodings, and then in 1822 the sea storage fell down, so they found foundations of it in the early of this century 2000s. They started digging. They found really, really interesting stuff. Foundations, so evidence of flooding, definitely. This 3 meter deep. It's a door of the sea storage, and I think I should go with a camera because they keep this out of the public. Huh? No, not many people know this. You can't really enter here. It's because my dad was making his book together with an archaeologist. He was able to get to all these places.
Wow.
And they say this was like a marine artillery building.
Cool. It reminds me now of the aquarium at Brighton. That's all underground with arches. Normandy. I call it in the Normandy time now because now I realise what. Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole coastline, Normandy and Britain. There was more land, definitely. They did also. They found all sorts of artifacts as well there. So you can see down under the ground. And they say it's only dating.
That's quite a long way of land lost, isn't it?
Yeah. And they say it's only dating from the 19th century. But I think this is much older. This is much older. Okay, then we have another thing, the Western Church. Rembrandt is buried here. The famous painter Rembrandt van Rijn. And this was a self-portrait made in 1659. He's buried in the Western Church, and this is Saskia, his wife. She is buried in the Old Church. Yeah. So quite sad that they're laying both in a different church.
And you can see 1640 something.
Yeah, well, they can carve these things out. This is the Western Kerk. Here you have the Anne Frank house somewhere. It's like pathetic people go and look there.
Oh no, Miriam, I went there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I had to
Do you
go.
know what? I was really shocked because they always make it sound like she was living in such a small house. And although there was a few families in there, it was actually quite big.
Yeah, the room was quite small, and I mean, you know, we had to go there with school, when primary school. You know, okay.
But that's when I believed the narrative. When I went there, I believed what we were being told, whereas now I don't. But it does have an awe there. Everybody's quite quiet in that house. But anyway, carry on, because we're wasting your time. Carry on.
Okay, now this is a very interesting dude, Spinoza. He was living at the same time as Rembrandt, and he was one of the greatest thinkers of the time. And he was offered several times to become also part of the so-called gentlemen or the clubs. He refused, and he died at quite a young age, and he seriously questioned as well the French Academy of Science, which I think is a key. And his book, The Ethics, was only published after he died. It's very controversial for his time.
And that fits into that time period that you were talking about, where everything changed.
Yeah, when they were rewriting everything, this is the French Academy of Science. That is actually now the Louvre in Paris. That is the building. It's massive, and it's quite sweet. They put up a statue of Spinoza, and this is what is written here. You have to walk around. You can see the purpose of the state is freedom, and the less freedom of speech the state has, the more violently it is governed. That is one of his.
Well, they're not listening to that, then, are they?
No. And the new municipality building is next to it, where the mayor is, and I think she's taking another route and not passing by here. She's not reading this. Definitely not.
No.
Because it's ridiculous. But it's disappearing from the school books as well.
Damn.
It's quite sad. But his books, and especially the Ethics, is translated in English. It is still in public. It's still published. It's very, very good. Really great thinker. Okay, now here we have a few photographs of floodings. Very clear. It goes down, or there's a lot of house below here as well. Below. There's a lot. Here as well. This is really, really strange, and I will go out one day with the camera and then make photographs, because I've always wondered why in the world would they put up these staircases in front of windows. If I go with the camera, I can make really clear photos of that. Some windows are completely blocked out. Yeah, very, very.
What, because they're added afterwards, you mean?
Yeah, like here, you can see. The house goes deeper, but here the staircase goes in front of the window.
I wonder how many floors are below ground then.
Yeah. Well, the Amstel is at some points 10 meters deep.
Well, you go then.
It's very deep under the ground.
So this would have been like a city, wouldn't it? The buildings would have been so tall.
Yeah. Well, there's other foundations. They found foundations at the Dam Square as well. That was in the 70s. A hotel burned down, and they found foundations, and they had no idea because there were no records of it. And then they closed it off, and no one knows about it. It's yeah. Here also goes all down. But Karen, shall we just round off here, because I think I'm only halfway. Yeah, look, I'm here on.
Well, should we come back and do part 2 then?
Yes, let's do that.
I'd really like that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think it is really, really nice to show this as well. And there's a whole other part coming, and I think a lot to digest already. And we had also the chart. in front, because I have 241 slides and we are on 94. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well, can we come?
we'll do that very soon. Yes.
All right. So if we say goodbye on here, and then we'll say goodbye to each other afterwards. But thank you so much. You're always got Miriam, whether it's astrology or pictures.
I love it. I love sharing this, and I had really much fun making this. And let's talk soon, really soon.
All right.
Not over a year, but like in a week or so.
Yes, I'd like that very much. But for this hangout right now, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed that. So definitely want part 2. Mwah, Miriam, mwah, chat room.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for watching.
We're just on a long pause at the moment. Pause that button.